I'm Ed Rose, and this is Citizen Kane, back with more tales from the Hilltop. On this broadcast, available only on 101.7 WXZY, I chase down little-known facts and forgotten memories about the people and the events that have shaped the history of our town. This episode of Citizen Kane remembers the advent of the 1970s on the Hilltop, when the opening of a new high school and a consolidated elementary school kicked off a new era of progress on the heights of the Alleghenies. With shimmering evergreen Park Pond in the foreground, Old Kane High, in its idyllic setting, had long been the envy of rival towns. An enduring monument to Kane's commitment to secondary education, the building embodied the high school fair, memorialized in the words of the school's alma mater. Built in 1907 for the princely sum of $90,000, the aging icon was still as pretty as a postcard. But by the late 1960s, the building was too small and its maintenance too expensive to support the district's daily operations. As a result, the school board developed a detailed project plan to construct a new high school and a consolidated elementary school to replace the badly outdated neighborhood grammar school buildings. According to a 1970 report in the Kane Republican, for many it is difficult to accept that the high school building has outlived its use under its current standards required today. On the morning of June 16, 1970, the hallowed Kane High School building was razed. According to the Kane Republican, when it was initially constructed, the senior high was known as Kane's fabled White Elephant, on speculation that the town had overbuilt and overspent. Misty-eyed townspeople watched as a dispassionate crane operator quickly reduced Old Kane High to a pile of rubble. By noon, the cafeteria and the northeast corner of the two-story section had been torn down. The demolition of the major portion of the building cleared the way for the removal of the towering brick smokestack and the completion of the consolidated elementary school on the same site. While the debris of the original high school building was hauled away, the 1936 annex was left intact and stands today. That wing contained the gymnasium, library, and two classrooms which would be utilized in the $1.5 million renovation project. Steel and brickwork for the new portion of the building was erected on the site of the high school athletic field during the 1969-70 school year. Due to that construction, the Kane Wolves were forced to move their home football games down the hill to the junior high field on West Hemlock, pending completion of the new high school and stadium. Across Chestnut Street, the beloved pond, the centerpiece of Evergreen Park, had been recently drained, plowed under, and filled in. The nightly chorus of peepers and bullfrogs went silent in the name of progress. The Centennial Pond recreational project was approved 6 years earlier, in 1964, when Council decided that tennis and basketball courts would be a better use of the space occupied by the tranquil wildlife refuge. The construction of the new and larger high school, with a budget of $2.8 million, had begun in January of 1969, when giant bulldozers cleared the old Kane Homestead site adjacent to the Pennsylvania Railroad tracks south of Hemlock Avenue. Of course, the modern-day state-of-the-art school would have only the finest features and athletic facilities, including a costly indoor Olympic-sized swimming pool and a synthetic outdoor running track. The new football stadium would come complete with fancy slingshot goalposts, an electric scoreboard, and an awesome sweeping view of the surrounding area. Once again, the new Kane High School campus would become the envy of other school districts. High school principal and future superintendent Laverne Johnson was a strong and decisive leader who charted a clear course for Kane schools during the turbulent times of the 1960s and 1970s. Vern, as he was known, demanded the best for Kane schools. According to Jack Headland, who succeeded Johnson as high school principal, Vern envisioned the school as a poor man's country club, hence the pool, night school classes, evening walking programs, Special Olympics, and much more. He believed the schools belonged to the community as a whole. Vern's persistence and proficiency in facilities planning and project management shone through in the transition from the Chestnut Street building into the new high school in 1970. This new chapter in Kane history was against a national backdrop of rapid social change, cultural upheaval, political turmoil, and opposition to the Vietnam War. High school students wore their hair longer, smoked pot, and regularly stood up to authority. 1970 spelled the end to the innocent days when grade school students walked home for lunch. West Side School, Central School, St. Callistus, and James City schools were closed permanently, with their former students now among the 817 pupils enrolled in the new elementary school. Clay Street School, Ludlow, and Mount Jewett Grammar Schools would remain open for the time being, with Erickson School now being used for high school vocational programs. Having both the elementary school and the new high school ready for occupancy by September of 1970 proved to be a difficult Rubik's Cube puzzle for the districts to solve. With construction delays due to labor and weather conflicts, along with the challenge of manually mapping and contracting new bus routes, it was a minor miracle when Kane Area District schools opened in time for the school year. In addition to the 817 students enrolled in the new elementary school, 561 pupils were enrolled in the new high school, with 573 at the junior high. 209 children remained at Clay Street, 96 in Ludlow, and 167 in Mount Jewett, for a total enrollment of 2,423 students in the district. Upon completion in September of 1970, New Kane High, along with the 12-year-old junior high school and the newly renovated elementary school, gave the district 3 modern facilities that would serve the district well for years. Additionally, 4 aging elementary school buildings were decommissioned as part of the project. This time around, New Kane High was no white elephant. The massive building and renovation project was practical and made good sense. With credit to Vern Johnson, the final building plan was not without a healthy measure of extravagance, however, namely the many upgrades to the school's new athletic facilities that would be accessible to the community. When the Olympic-sized pool opened in January of 1971, it was the cherry on top of the town's new first-class high school. In hindsight, building an expensive regulation-sized pool and natatorium to serve a small school district and community like Kane must have seemed foolhardy back in 1970. Like good money after bad, but Vern stuck to his guns. You could say the fancy pool was his white whale. The blacktop surface was finally completed atop the primordial evergreen park pond in October of 1971, when it was fenced for tennis courts and curbed around the perimeter to hold enough water to accommodate ice skating. On November 6, 1971, the Kane Republican reported that the Centennial Recreation Facility was finally completed. On that day, my 12th birthday, I got as a gift a new stainless steel Wilson T2000. Within 2 years, I could hit a tennis ball through the chain-link fence with that racket. Also, due to a series of delays, Paul R. Miller Stadium did not open until September of 1972, and the Kane Wolves toiled for 3 seasons in the muck and mire of the junior high school field. Today, the fine facility is among the best in the region, and the view from the bleachers is emblematic of Vern Johnson's far-reaching and uncompromising vision for Kane schools. Well, that's all for this week, friends. Please send your comments and story ideas to citizenkanepa@gmail.com. And thank you for listening.